Charles, are we there? So as usual, we will always thank you guys for coming, and the management and staff of TrueLiberia Broadcasting Corporation and PRBC, our community radio station partners who also join us on PRBC. We'd like to say thank you for joining us. Our radio listeners and television viewers, we say welcome to the Charles Beyond Press Hall, the Republic Charles Beyond Press Hall. This afternoon, I'd like to invite the Bureau Deputy Information Minister, Honorable Daniel Sando, who will officially invite the Chief Spokesperson of the government, and then after which we will introduce to you our guest, Mr. Sando.
Good afternoon, members of the 4th Estate. It is once again a pleasure to be back here in the Charles Beyond Conference Room here at the Ministry of Information for the press conference. We want to welcome all of our visiting guests, members of the civil society organizations here. On this edition of the press conference, we have the Honorable Spencer Liko, Deputy Minister for Operations at the Ministry of National Defense. He's our sole guest, and he will be speaking on issues relating to activities marking the official celebration of the Armed Forces Day. He will also provide some updates on the Saco National Park and the ongoing recruitment of the Armed Forces of Liberia, among other things. Before he speaks, we have a tradition here. The Minister has indicated that he will make some opening remarks, and then as the Deputy, I will clear the decks of the Ministry before we entertain remarks from the Honorable Deputy Minister for Operations. That is a protocol for the day. And with that being said, I want to welcome our distinguished Minister, Honorable Jeremy Makokia, the microphone. Sorry. So before the Minister speaks, everything we've done at the Ministry of Information here is a matter of public knowledge, and there are people out there who are following, and it is their conclusion that it should not allow the good work of doing managing government communication, refurbishing the place where government speaks from. So we come to give due recognition to our Minister. You know, we have to reach our protocol a bit to entertain them. I hope you won't take all our time. So let me now invite Mr. Frederick Bay, who will make remarks on behalf of the civil society group. They will do what they have to do, and then the Minister will speak, and we'll continue with the press conference.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everybody. To our honoree, Mr. Olympic Matthew Pierre, and the staff at the Ministry of Information. We are from the Civil Society Consortium, and we have come to present the Appreciation Award to the Minister of Information, Honorable Olympic Pierre, for his tremendous contribution to the growth of the media of their country. From the consortium and the group under the consortium that is presenting this award is called the Independent Media Network of Liberia, MDL, established 5 years ago. But he has been blessed to receive this award. Names were called to us. And in the end, the information minister was chosen for a few reasons. And I, being the head of the consortium, under which this group falls, the Independent Media Network, supported their logic to have his selected receive the award. One, his transformational development process here at the Ministry of Information. I am an endemic journalist. I came up as a court reporter, rose to a field reporter, came to editor-in-chief, and then I published the Labour Journal newspaper and served at the Labour Ministry as Deputy Communications Director. Also an advocate, head of Republic, which is part of the consortium that was in Accra at the Peace Accord, under which umbrella today we enjoy democracy and peace and stability in our country. So we come to present the award to Mr. Pierre and his staff. It's a symbolic, through him even to President Boakai, for allowing the media to go the way it's going. You just get on the airwave and say what you want to say. Describe the government, city government official, whatever you want to describe them. You got no reprisal, no security men to your doorstep, as well before when we were jail here, when we were practicing journalists in this country. We think that this is a remarkable transformation. The Ministry of Information, we know it to be what we know it to be. All of you that have been here for a couple of years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You are a living testimony to our this award. Look at what you're standing today. We're transformed. Nobody needs to tell you this. Look at the gate. It's not well open. You come here scrutinized. It's a sensitive government entity. And then the interactions with the workers, which they are own analysis here with the workers. We got people working here from our institution. They tell us, Mr. Chairman, there have been remarkable improvement here. Even the minister of NAPA was in the morning and from his face because he came from there angry. These are the hallmark of a decent leadership that mark a complete transformation. So we now have the option to call on our vice coordinator and briefly we'll introduce the staff. Our executive committee will take us one time. Because it's your day, we'll present. So we read the wording of this award and have it swiftly translated to the minister. The Independent Media Network of Liberia, Painesville, Liberia, Monrovia. Certificate of Special Appreciation awarded to Honorable Jeremy Matthew Pierre, Minister of Information. In deep appreciation, acknowledgement, and recognition of your invaluable, committed, and patriotic contributions to the enhancement of the propagation of the government development programs through robust public relations, cordial interactions with the media, the refurbishment of the ministry facilities, and improvement in the welfare of the employees and staff. The Independent Media Network of Liberia, IMNEL, hereby present you, Honorable Pierre, this certificate of special appreciation with the distinct title, Most Productive Minister of the Year 2025-2026. We inform you that among the 30 also ministers, director, head of government in this country, the Independent Media Network of Liberia presents him and gives him the title, the Most Productive Minister of the Year 2025-2026. This is given on our hands and sealed this 5th day of February 18, 2026 in the center of Monrovia, Republic of Liberia. Signed, Ahmed Sharif, Mr. Sharif, our National Secretary General and publisher of the Standard Times newspaper. It's approved by the Home Servant Ifradu Bay, publisher of the Labour Journal newspaper and National General Coordinator. Mr. Minister, with respect, I call on you to please come receive your award. So, on behalf of the Independent Media Network, in my name as the National General Coordinator, on behalf of Progressive Journalists of this country, present to Mr. Minister the special award, the most productive Minister of the Year, 2025-2026. Congratulations, keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
All right, we want to thank the consortium and the network of media individuals for the award. I'm not sure the award should be for me as a person. It should be to the institution that I had, which is the Ministry of Information. We appreciate it and want to thank you. Like I've already said, Daniel, with Mr. Sando, we quickly do the presentation of what the ministry wants to say, but I just wanted to clear a few things before he comes out. I know you may have spoken about it when I was not here on Tuesday, and that is the demolition exercise that took place in Safetown, which is a direct result of the workings of our judicial process. The government is structured into 3 separate, independent, or coordinate branches of government. One branch of the government cannot interfere with or dictate to the workings of the other. Secondly, when people have grievances in a country, they establish medium through which they can resolve those grievances. It's a court system. So any of you here who will feel aggrieved by anything someone does to you, the only solution you have to that grievance is the court of law. And when the court of law acts, neither the executive nor the legislative branches of the government can get involved and say, this decision of the court, sorry to say, it's nonsense. Don't pay attention to it. You can't run a society like that. So the Safetown land issue, of course, was a matter that was adjudicated by the court, and the court's ruling was executed. It was not a President Waka decision. It was not even necessarily the government of Liberia decision. It was the outcome of a judicial process. One reason why I'm still talking about this, even though I know Daniel spoke about it, is how some of us who say we are national leaders will look for anything to exploit, even if it plunges the country into chaos. We don't care. And that's dangerous. Some of the individual national leaders who are attempting to politicize the outcome of a judicial process are lawyers. And then again, there are lawyers who don't respect what the court system represents. One of them said, it is being mean-spirited to break down people's houses with no relocation plan. The government of Liberia, one of the executive, did not wake up one morning and say, we want to go seize a particular area that people are living, and we are supposed to plan for those people's relocation before. They went to court. Some of them, the political parties they are associated with, had the headquarters demolished. Why? the result of a court ruling. Now you politicize a court action that granted somebody their property. Where else could people go if not a court? Every court has decided on something, what else is supposed to be done? One of the former lawmakers says, in the name of politics, that if you were a former president, you would not have executed a court order. So then it tells you where the country was on those people. That they will have no regards for the court system. That they will have no regard for the rule of law. That the court can decide this is a decision and they will be telling the court to hell with you. Such a nation that will be run that way is just a step away from total chaos and anarchy. And this government will not countenance anything that will promote chaos and anarchy. We will continue to see the court as the place to seek redress, and we believe that all of our citizens should continue to respect the outcomes of judicial processes. Just want to make that very crystal clear. And for those who are trying to politicize these judicial issues, stop it. It does not represent you if you are a national leader. It does not represent you if you are a leader of a political party. It shows a deep level of irresponsibleness. And none of us in this public space should be that irresponsible. The same goes with the Minister of National Defense and the 72nd Barrack. The Deputy Minister is here, probably he will talk about it. There's no secret that the 72nd Barrack is the property of the armed forces of Liberia. And for as long as I have been around here, there have been efforts to repossess that property. But I believe one thing that has stopped it continuously is people's quest and greed for power. Every time they see a legitimate action to take, they are worried about political or electoral consequence. And then even if the thing they're supposed to do is right, they allow it to flow because, hey, if I do the thing, I go to election to whatever people vote against me. No nation is built like that. Right now you say they're bringing DV again, everybody will play, the whole country won't play. But the countries that they want to go to, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in America, wherever they want to go, strict adherence to the rule of law is what makes those countries to be why it is, for which you want to go there. Look around. You see some young person will get caught a police officer in uniform and disgracing him. Meanwhile, you watch these same things in other countries, and nobody dare put a hand on a state trooper or somewhere in the US or so. You know why you be bringing it upon yourself when you do it. But those are the things that drive you up to those countries, and back in our own country we want to do it another way or not. So the army is getting hold of his property, and you want to bring politics and public sentiment in there. You go on radio, you cry, oh, is it a rescue? Oh, they're not a rescue we're looking for. Why is that? The real substance of the matter is the place you are. Is it the property of the army? If yes, the army is in the need. What has it got to do with you crying what I'm supposed to do? Rescue means getting things right. So if that place is for the armed forces and the armed forces leader, a few people talk about these people who serving us. Right now when this country come on an attack or something, who do you depend on? That are crying will go save us? It is these people. Many of you have not gone to Camp Kesabi to see the condition these people live in there. In cluster environment. The Ministry of National Defense and the High Command of the Armed Forces is not interested in refurbishing their different barracks so that these people can have place to stay with them and their family too. You say no. Just leave it, we should continue to stay there. And when they say no, you can't stay there, you go cry and say another rescue will come from. The army people themselves need rescue. And having them to regain the place they used to live before is rescuing them. If you are there illegally and you're being removed, You can't clinch onto rescue. So let's think positively, all of us together, so that the country gets better. Let's leave all these small political games. You know, place like that for you, they say move, and then you go call television, put a big flashing camera, and you talk about the rescue, you came to rescue us. The LEC, I know many of you have been having different concerns, LEC this, LEC that. But I just wanted to assure you as a spokesman of the government that the stability that you've seen with the LEC is here to stay. Even though the GOL is noting the concerns of some of you who are having different complaints about why you think the situation is, I want to assure you that it will soon be 100% stable. The LEC is continuing to do more of what it's supposed to do. More street lights are being connected. The Rubberfield Highway, where we have some gaps in the planting of poles, the poles arrived. The lights themselves are here. They've been installed in the next 2 weeks. They're going to be completed. And it's also happening from the front coming towards from the airport and also coming towards from town. The little gaps that are there is being worked on. On the freeway where the LEC had not had street lights before, they started. If you're passing there in the night, you will see that the lights are on, but there were some gaps in between. Those are places they had the old poles they met there. They are removing them now and putting in new ones. Maybe in the next couple of days, you'll be able to drive from Railway Street to Freeport and you'll see that entire corridor lighted. It's a continuation of your work. They're planting poles in several different places in Cartwell, in many communities around Monrovia. They are also doing house-to-house connection in that regard. So be assured that LEC is solving whatever problem they met, and the stability that you saw of recent week is being a little bit shaken because you know the source of our electricity is now 100% from here. We are getting current from Cote d'Ivoire and from Guinea. They've been going through some maintenance. Those maintenance work will be finished shortly, and we'll come back 100% to what it's supposed to be. We had great delay in our road works. The Ministry of Public Works has focused on this octopus raw aggression kind of road work. It's been delayed because of the rain. Right now, we can announce to you that what they intended to do with the octopus raw aggression road work has commenced fully, which means in every corridor where there's supposed to be road work will start, and that will include the stored process that have been taking place in the Rubberfield Highway. I informed you here before that there were some questions about accountability on that road, and an audit was commissioned. That audit process has been concluded. The road work will resume. They will do as much as they can before the rain comes. Don't forget that when we came to power, we focused on that road. We've been making huge progress there. The road has been advancing. That progress will continue now that it's about to resume. And they will do as much as they can until we get to the point where the level of the rain does not permit them to do anymore. And that intervention they're doing on road is all across the country. It means the low-fat road will continue. It means that the roads in the southeast that are being built will continue. It means community roads and access roads all across the country that are being worked on will continue, all starting together. And that's why they refer to it as an octopus style raw aggression road work. There was a report, I think yesterday or so, alleging that the data system of key institutions in Liberia were hacked. They named the LRA, they named the National Investment Commission, and the LEC. Based on investigations that are being conducted, we wish to state that those reports represented nothing but false alarm. Nothing about what that report says is true. And whatever the source of the report is, whoever is behind it, basically wanted to call attention to themselves by creating a very false alarm. I hope that addresses the situation. And finally, By 3 o'clock today, the keys to the new broadcast television and broadcast complex of the Liberia Broadcasting System will be turned over to the Director General of the entity. He will proceed to turn the keys over to the Board of Directors, which I chair, and the Board of Directors will proceed to turn the key over to the President of the Republic of Liberia. The Board, the Managing Director, and the President will then sit and agree on a date for the dedication of the complex. But it was proposed by the Director General to the Board and eventually to the President on how that broadcast complex should be called. The proposal was advanced to the President. It has met his approval, and therefore the new complex at LBS will be named the Charles Bayham Radio and Television Complex. We know in a small way at the Ministry of Information we have honored his memory by having this conference room. But this is just a conference room. We're now talking about a whole broadcast and television complex being named in his honor. And it will interest you to know that the site of that broadcast complex is where his blood sank into the soil of Liberia. It's where he was murdered in cold blood. So it's the best way to honor him by having the structure built on that facility being named in his honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister, for those initial comments. Let me just continue from where you stopped. A special investigation into the Presidential Rights Relation and Administrative Justice, the residential prison has been completed, and the investigation found no evidence of theft. All donated bilateral rights were accounted for, delivered to the prison facility, and distributed accordingly. The report notes that a misunderstanding resulted from internal communication and coordination gaps within the Bureau of Corrections and Rehabilitation. The leaked audio that sparked public controversy originated from within the Bureau of Corrections and Rehabilitation senior management was released without authorization. The investigation further established that the Assistant Director of Operations, Mr. Lawrence G. Boyden, acted on management instruction and not unlawfully. The panel recommends his immediate reinstatement. On yesterday, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, with special support from World Bank, held its second policy dialogue. The primary goal of the policy dialogue is to build consensus and accelerate action on critical legal reforms, especially the Women and Girls Protection Bill that is currently before the National Legislature. The dialogue, which focuses on creating advocacy roadmap and securing legislative champions to ensure the passage of the bill, was attended by lawmakers, government officials, development partners, civil society actors, and advocates. The second national policy dialogue is part of ongoing reform, including the bills on female genital mutilation prohibition, legal aid, and electoral amendments. The initiative aligns and supports the government arrest agenda, specifically its human capital development pillar, which focuses on the protection
and equality for women and girls. Also, a high-level delegation from the International Organization for Migration met with the Gender Minister. They discussed on a proposed cross-border women empowerment initiative for the Mano Rural region. The initiative aims to empower women, girls, youth, and persons with disabilities through skill development, economic opportunities, and stronger regional collaboration among border communities. The Minister welcomed the ROM team and reaffirmed Liberia's commitment to partnership that advance women's economic inclusion and regional cooperation, aligning with the government's gender equality and development goals. The Liberia National Police has formally charged one Mustafa Dirami with multiple offenses including theft, forgery, and criminal conspiracy. The charges follow an investigation into an alleged fraudulent travel scheme that cost the victim thousands of United States dollars. The suspect, a resident of Claratown, Morovia, was arrested on January 30th, 2026 in Congotown. The suspect collected a total of 10,000 United States dollars from the victim. The investigation disclosed that a payment, including 5,200, was sent for travel process for processing travel documents and other issues. The suspect prepared fake police clearance and medical certificates along with other forged documents to support a fraudulent travel arrangement. The investigation further alleged that the suspect transported Camara out of Liberia to Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, where the young man reportedly stayed for approximately 3 months before being rescued by family members and returned home. The investigation concludes that the suspect action violated several sections of Liberia's penal law, including theft, forgery, criminal conspiracy, human trafficking, among others. Again, the police is cautioning the public to be wary of individuals promising overseas travel or visa processing services without proper authorization. Currently ongoing in the country is high-level joint statutory meetings of ECOWAS and its financial bodies, WAMA, WAMI, and WAFEM, and the meeting started yesterday and runs to February 13, 2026. The meeting brings together central bank governors, financial institutions, finance ministers, and technical experts from across the West African region. 3 key sessions were opened yesterday. The WAM's College of Supervisors focused on cross-border banking supervision, risk assessment, and coordinated responses to financial challenges. The Central Bank of Liberia governor emphasized that cross-border supervision is essential for financial stability in an interconnected region and outlined Liberia's commitment to reform and regulatory harmonization. The WAFEM meeting highlighted institutional focus on regional capacity building and expanded partnership in 2025 with institutions like the IMF and World Bank. Success is measured by lasting impact of its training programs for economic institutions. 3, the College of Insurance Supervisors stressed the importance of harmonized insurance supervision for financial stability and preparation for equal single currency. Discussions address challenges like low insurance penetration, but also opportunities for digital and inclusive insurance markets. The meeting underscores Liberia's active role in advancing regional financial integration, stability, and cooperation within ECOWAS. The section serves as a twice-yearly platform to assess macroeconomic performance and push forward the region's economic convergence agenda. The Ministry of Justice is convening a 3-day quarterly training workshop in Buchanan City, Grand Bassa County. And that meeting brings together county attorneys, administrators, and aspiring prosecutors from across the country for an intensive professional skill development. The workshop is designed to strengthen prosecutorial capacity through practical training, knowledge sharing, and the adoption of modern prosecutorial techniques aimed at improving the administration of justice in Liberia. Facilitators for a 3-day event include Councillor Nibali Wonder, Managing Partner of Heritage Associates, Councillor Jala Babu, Executive Director of the Office for War Crime, Councillor Lafayette D. Gould, and Jerry D. Galawo. The training aims to equip prosecutors with updated skills and best practices, reinforce professional standards, and ultimately improve the delivery of justice across all counties in Liberia. Lastly, before we invite the Minister of Defense to the podium, the government of Liberia clarifies position on regulating international shipping emission. The government notes recent online publication in Trade Winds and the Oracle Newsday suggesting that Liberia plans to impose a carbon levy on international shipping as of March 1st, 2026. The government wishes to clarify that it does not and will not impose a carbon levy on international ships calling for Liberian seaports. Liberia reaffirms its support to the established international legal framework governing greenhouse gas emissions on ships through the International Maritime Organization. The government of Liberia recognizes that international shipping operates globally beyond national boundaries. Hence, it is a complex nature. Consequently, regulating international shipping greenhouse gas emission has a long-standing international consensus been entrusted exclusively to the IMO. Therefore, unilateral national measures to regulate or impose market-based mechanism on international shipping emission outside of the IMO framework risks undermining regulatory certainty, fragmenting global maritime governance, and disrupting international trade. The government of Liberia will continue to engage the IMO and other countries to support the development of globally agreed technical, operational, and market-based measures that are uniform, just, and equitable, taking into consideration developmental realities. I'll stop there, and now invite the Honorable Deputy Minister for Operations, Ministry of National Defense, will make the presentation, and then we'll entertain questions from other people. Thank you.
Thank you, Dada. Good afternoon to members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Before I delve into my remarks, I want to begin by first thanking the Minister and his team for the privilege given us at the Ministry of National Defense to bring you up to speed with happening at the MOD and the AFL. I also want to commend the Minister for his transformative leadership at the Ministry of Information. When you just walk in there, you will see a lot of development. For those of us who haven't been there in a long time, just from the ambience, you will know what the Minister is doing. So Minister, I want to join the civil society to congratulate you on your award for being the most outstanding Minister of the year. My remarks will focus on 4 points: the Sato National Park, recruitment, Yamramrod, which is known as the 72nd Barracks, and the Armed Forces Day celebration that will be held next week. Sato National Park. We want to thank the Liberian government, especially the President, as the Commander-in-Chief, for the order and support to the AFL to clear the Sato National Park. The illegal mining activities, the killings of our protected species, and the influx of foreigners didn't just pose threats to our protected rainforests and rich biodiversity, but had far-reaching national security implications. Today, the park is cleared and our boots are still on the ground. Meanwhile, we can confirm that we have recalled the initial platoon size of 45 soldiers back to our barracks following reports of alleged compromise and recent shooting incident in the park. These soldiers, especially the commanders, are undergoing investigation, and if found culpable, will be dealt with according to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Recruitment. Plans are on the way for the 2026 recruitment. Our intent is to start the process in this month, February 2026. However, we are still awaiting funds from the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. And as soon as the funds are released, we will kick off the process. For those of you who have questions about the requirements to join the AFL, I would like to submit the following. The most important thing, and which is the first one, is that you must be a Liberian. And our focus this time is between the ages of 18 to 35. Some of a high school graduate, a YS certificate or what, or somebody who is also in college. You must be physically and mentally fit. You must have a present police clearance and a health certificate within the last 3 months. You must have proof of citizenship representing either national ID card, voter registration card, birth certificate, a passport, or a certificate of naturalization if you are a naturalized citizen. Then, of course, you should present 2 passport-size photos with white background and any other document that you think may be relevant to us. The recruitment will be spread in 4 regions. The central region includes Montserrado, Grand Bassa, and Magidi. And the testing center for those applying will be in Monrovia. For the western region, which includes Grand Cape Mount, Bombing, and Babalu, the testing center will be in Tottenham, Bombing County. For the northern region, Lofa, Bom, and Nimba, the testing center will be in Banga, Bong County. For the southeast, Grand Jita, River G, Maryland, Grand Crew, and Sino, this region will have 2 centers because they have many counties. One would be in Zweju, and the other would be in Tapa. Don't let no one fool you that you need to have a recommendation to enter the AFL. There will be no recommendation needed. The process is free, so let me just make that clear. Cameron Road, 72nd Barracks. On January 19, 2026, the Armed Forces of Liberia took decisive steps in reclaiming its 72nd Barrack by issuing 14 days ultimatum to illegal inhabitants while also creating demarcations. It is worth emphasizing that out of a total of 37 acres of land, we are only claiming 14. We know it is not possible to build our land back. So all the 37 acres that we have will be taking siege of only 14 acres. The invasion so far has been very peaceful, conducted in respect for the rule of law, human dignity, and the cooperation of the squatters on our facility. As a matter of fact, our soldiers are transporting families in need to 3 major zones. We carry those who want to go to the Ralphie Highway side, carry spread, and do a line. Let me just give you a history of this. So the second thing. During the administration of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, we made a series of attempts to reclaim that property. It was around 2016, 2017. The representative at the time spoke to the president, then President Sirleaf. So the order to reclaim our barrack, we had to stand down. We gave them some time with the hope that they would be able to relocate willingly. In the administration of President George Manning, we started the process again to have those people removed. Again, they were able to appeal for time. We gave them enough time, they did not move. When I assumed this position in June 2024, I had a meeting with the leadership in August 2024. I met the leadership team at the Ministry of National Defense, and they told us that school was about to open, so we should allow the school year to end, and when the school year ends, we'll be able to find their way to a different location. 2024 came and passed. 2025, we gave another 4 months notice, and they did not leave. So what do you expect us to do? This is not only peculiar to the 72nd Barracks. We have a barrack in Sandy College and Jackson. We have to evict those people right now. We have our troops there. We have our troops in Camp Wisner in Zweju, trying to decongest the EBK barrack, which has so many people in that barrack. The EBK was not built to accommodate the number of troops that are currently at EBK. So we have to place our people in the areas that belong to them. So the issue of 72nd is not just peculiar to them. We are going other places and evicting other people. We even have taken siege of our barrack in Kakata, Camp Jones. So I just want to make that point clear. Armed Forces Day. As you may be aware, every February 11 is celebrated as Armed Forces Day. We use this time to honor our men and women in uniform and to cherish the memories of those who paid the ultimate price. As part of this year's Armed Forces Day celebration, we have crafted the following activities. Last Sunday, which was February 1, we commenced activity marking the 69th anniversary of Armed Forces Day. We began our day with a 7.5-kilometer run from the Catholic Hospital Junction in Congo Town, and we ended it at the Barclay Training Center. The run is named in memory of elite AFL officer, Lieutenant Commander Venus Dean Nelson. The AFL High Command and personnel of paramilitary institutions, including the LMP, Immigration, DEA, and Fire Service also participated. On Monday, February the 2nd, we started parade rehearsal at the BDC barracks, and we began the issuance of new sets of uniform. the kind of uniform that is being issued right now is much more difficult to duplicate compared to the ones which are currently in use. On Tuesday, February 23rd, we had a symposium at the EJS Ministerial Complex in Congo Town under the topic, Building an Effective Interagency Framework, Combating Drug Trafficking and Organized Crime Through Coordinated National Security Efforts. We were privileged to have the Dean of the Louis Adogren School of Law as our keynote speaker. Today, Thursday, and tomorrow, Friday, we continue our rehearsal and also the issuance of new sets of uniforms to our troops. On Friday, we have a Jumat service at the El Habibu Mosque in Carisbrad, Montserrat County, beginning at 1100 hours. And on the same Friday, we have sporting activities at the BTC. We are invited UMU, EMU, and our sponsor Lone Star Cell to have sports days with them. On Saturday, February 7th, we'll be having civil military operations, and that will include cleanup campaign, which will focus on the red light area all the way to Coca-Cola factory. We'll be doing cleaning up exercise, and we'll also conduct medical outreach. Our medical unit will be reaching out to community to provide medical services, and that will be done at a clinic called Boyumu Clinic in Magibi County at 7:30 a.m. On Sunday, we have a Thanksgiving service at the Abandoned Life Church in Harvest City, Magibi County at 1000 hours. And then on the main day, February 11, 2026, we'll have the official celebration of the 69th anniversary of Armed Forces Day and the hosting of the national flag. This year, Armed Forces guest speaker will be the Chief of Army Staff of the Nigerian Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu. This guy has served as a mentor to two former Ministers of Defense, General Zianga and General Johnson. And the current minister, he has also been a mentor to the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia. And he will be our keynote speaker. We're also expecting the Chief of Defense Staff from countries within the region, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, and another country which I don't have here at this podium. From the United States, we'll be expecting 17 generals and admirals and 2 colonels. It will be coming from the National Defense University. The U.S. Jackson delegation will be led by a 4-star general, retired Thomas Wahoso from the U.S. Marine Corps, and former commander of the U.S. Africa Command. And then we'll come as today with a ball at the Executive Pavilion, and this event will be attended by invitation only. So once again, I want to thank the Minister and his team for the privilege giving us today here, and we will be willing to provide clarity for some of the questions you may have. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I did not introduce my Assistant Minister for Public Affairs, MOI. Thanks for everything, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So we'll take questions from the media, please. There's a one question that
Thank you so much, Minister. My name is Struggle Flaman, and I work for DNU's Liberia. Thank you, EFL, for coming. In your session, you did mention that National Defense, sorry. You said 2 successive governments, they try to negotiate with the army to have that place for the people to stay there. But you said that this government failed to negotiate with you. That's why we are doing. you proposing a plan to get the people from there. Because the government, anytime, anyhow, they negotiate like the other previous administration did. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Desmond and I report for Democracy Watch newspaper. Thanks to the Deputy Minister for Defense. Speaking about the issue of eligibility criteria, and you mentioned that those with YS certificate, are you taking, is the institution taking into account of the number of recruits from YS, especially where most of the Liberian students fail? Will you be accepting those failed results as well? And what is the theme of this year Armed Forces celebration?
All right, thank you. Put this to MOD. Will there be any funding for those with high investment in the secondary?
So thank you, report for the Nigeria, Mr. David Minister for Cooperation, the Minister of Defense. I told the 77 Barrack, you did mention that 37 acres of land is acquired by the armed forces of Liberia. They are still be corrected that 10 acres of land. So we immediately do a mathematics in this remaining 27 acres of land. Basically, are there plans in the future for those in the applicants who are residing on the remaining acres of land that they ever implement in the nearest of Jamaica? And second,
One question only.
Good afternoon, Minister Pia, and to your platform guests as well. I'm Trevor Kowe, a report from Parliament Land. My question is directed to the Deputy Minister for Operations, National Defense. Obviously, there are a lot of Liberians desiring to be recruited into the AFL. So what's the benchmark for the recruitment process, talking about the AFL's targeting Nigeria for those expected to be recruited?
So my name is James M. Bala, and I report for Virtual Africa. Thank you so much to the independent media or journalists for recognizing the efforts of our able minister, Mr. Roderick Matt, to PR for his hard work in the industry. However, our defense, the question is, what role will the civil society organizations play in monitoring the recruitment exercise? And while we await the allocation from the finance ministry, will you elaborate or give out a breakdown when it comes to the finance you need and how we manage the funds?
Thank you. My name is Darius Kano, and I report for OPL, President to the National Defense. How does the AFL balance its national security mandate with the logical importance of preserving South national park power capacity? My question is, how does the AFL balance its national security mandate with the importance of preserving South national parks
Congratulations on your honor. And also I want to appreciate you for the issue of trying to name child blame or even name a radio station in its honor. Our aspect of the investigation that complex. Yeah, after my inside investigation that I've done, I've got to realize that the late child Bill is yet to, or in fact, he doesn't have the grave. And all of the time, the ministry is doing something in its honor. What can the ministry maybe find the time to do with the wherein when there's a declaration day, the members of the press or members of the media will even go and maybe go in top of it to enhance the honor that the ministry already do. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Arthur P. Muser. I report for the Homeland Online TV. Thanks for giving me the privilege. My question goes to the representative from the National Defense. On Tuesday, we were at the site there at the 72nd Barrack, but what we witnessed there, generally have not been given access, because upon the expiration of the time frame given to people to vacate the area, we went there to do some follow-up, and we were not given access. Why is it that journalists are not given access to covering some of the events?
Thank you. Take that.
So my name is Winston Deegan, and I report for Spoon TV. Honorable Minister, Second Minister,
You do your son?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't have him.
Okay.
So you mentioned about the former lawmaker of that district 5, Honorable Thomas Farah. You mentioned that he negotiated, and at that time the people were pardoned. So what becomes of the current lawmaker? We've been seeing her advocacy. We've been seeing the fact that she had a meeting with the Ministry of Defense. So what becomes of her advocacy too? Thank you.
Thank you. Those are all the questions.
You guys asked a lot of questions, so just in case if I don't remember some, just give me a reminder. I think the first question said, what did we fail to convince the people to leave, and based upon what happened in the previous administration? Was that the question, right? So here is the thing. Nobody feels.
Is that the first question you're trying to answer?
Yeah.
Trogo, is that what you asked?
Maybe say the question to most of them.
You forget what your own question is? Yeah, clarify the question.
Whether or not the Unity Party administration failed to negotiate like previous administration.
Okay. So, in a nutshell, I wouldn't speak for any political party, but here is the thing. I was at the Ministry of Defense during the administration of President Zelly. In these kinds of situations, you try to have discussions with those that live there, because they have been living there for many number of years, so it is not an event, it's a process. So, we had discussion with them, and we tried to get them out. But then based upon plea from the representative at the time, I think Thomas Farah, and so the president asked the Ministry of National Defense to give it some time. So that eviction did not happen in 2016, 2017. This morning I inquired before coming to the Ministry of Information, because I know this question was going to be asked, whether something was done during the administration of President George Weah. I was also told that the ministry tried to get these people out again, but it didn't happen. And most of these negotiations happen around campaign time. In this current administration, we had discussion with them, like I mentioned during my briefing, in August of 2024. They pleaded for time. We gave them more than a year because they asked for school. They said the children were in school, so that they needed the school year to close. And 2024-2025 academic school year closed, we gave them 4 months notice. So those are the discussions that have been happening. So I wouldn't say the Unity Party government failed or they did not fail. It's just a matter, this is a very complicated and political situation, so it takes time to have these people evicted. And somebody asked about how does the EFF balance its mandate with protecting the Sapo National Park. The Sapo National Parks falls within the scope of the Forestry Development Authority. The FDA reached out to us because they do not have weapons. They are not capacitated to confront some of these people who have weapons in the forest. They have Burkina Faso and other people from different countries. and sometimes some people have been killed in the park. So considering the mandate of the armed forces of Liberia to support law enforcement when they are overwhelmed, that's how the Ministry of National Defense through the armed forces of Liberia got involved. So the AFL would not be there forever. It's just there to protect, to provide security in the meantime when the parks are clear, and there will be a point in time when the park will be turned over to the FDA. Mind you, I did not mention that, but let me point out, the ministry and the FDA are in collaboration to see how best they can provide security training to FDA, especially when it comes to arms and ammunition, how to make use of them. Somebody asked about the targeted number of people that will be recruited. So our intent for recruitment is to make sure that by the end of 2029, we can have our troops back to the pre-war status. So our focus this year is like 600 men, 2026. If funds are made available by 2027, another 600 men. If funds are made available 2028, another 600, and up to 2029. So our target is to recruit at least 600 persons every year up to the end of 2029. So there's where we stand. So based upon that numbers, we should be able to have an appreciable number. Maybe not what the pre-war status was, but at least to a level that is kind of closer to what it used to be. Will there be funding for the illegal inhabitants? No. As we speak, the government has not provided any funds for those illegal inhabitants. If the government decides to do so, when we have the funds, we'll make sure we provide the money to those who have been evicted. But as we speak, there is no money in the budget to provide financial support to those that are being evicted. So, somebody actually give an answer to the Okay, so the team for Armed Forces Day is securing Liberia together, strengthening interagency cooperation against drugs, trafficking, and emerging security threats. So this will be the thing that the chief of Army Staff of the Nigerian Armed Forces will be able to speak on Armed Forces Day. I think to the best of my recollection, I answered all of the questions.
No,
except one. Which one?
Except
my
question was, you mentioned that the AFL in terms of the land area is 37 acres of land.
Okay.
So they remain 23. Are there plans to follow future to reclaim them all those inhabitants that live in peace?
You probably didn't understand what I said. What I said, the AFL, the total number of land the AFL owns is 37 acres. All of the 37 acres, we have only reclaimed 14. So we are not going after the remaining 23 acres. 23 plus 14, what is the number? 37, right? So that's what I said. I said we have 37 acres. If we wanted to claim everything, it would be 37 acres. But we know that it is not possible to get all of our land back. So we are going after only 14 out of the 37 acres. That's what I said.
The other one, they will not come back here. They don't go after the other.
Only the 14 acres.
Yeah.
Yes.
The elected criteria, with the elected genetic criteria, where the defense take into consideration the max failure in last resort.
It's not the defense problem. It's somebody fail. It's somebody say you fail.
That's one. The chair will bring white certificate. When you fail, you can get white certificate.
Yes.
So I think I answered the
The question and answer period is good because that's the time that you interact with the guests. But then try to ask the most appropriate question, not just for question's sake. The man says, part of the requirement you must bring to be invested is a white certificate. You're not discussing pass or failure, just a big white certificate. When you pass, you will get a certificate, you bring it. When you not pass, you will not get a certificate. So you get a certificate, you're not qualified to be enlisted. They say, well, they will consider the mass failure people, and I will do that one. They don't begin this one. So, bro, you see the army, as they've been calling it, the force for good. It's a human institution, so you had some issue. Maybe individual soldiers may have had some excesses in some cases. But on the overall and on the average, I think the military has really stood up as a force for good since we ended the Civil War. Part of it is because of the rigor associated with how they recruit individuals in the army. It is that rigor we want to continue. Maybe it's something that the minister didn't say, which I should say, so that nobody makes it look like, oh, yeah, okay, you need party put in power, so that recruitment in terms of that, so you need party put in. The AFL recruitment processes are always done jointly in collaboration with some of our international friends. It is not exclusively our responsibility. And we do it because we want to have that balance, so that you trust the process, you respect the process, and know that those who will be enlisted purely on national standard and not any other connection like political party, family. And that's why you heard him say there will be no recommendation. You submit to the process, you'll be vetted, and if you meet those requirements, you'll be enlisted as the first step. The second step is you must be able to cope with and survive the trainings that you will go through. Then you'll be trained after being recruited. It is the end of all those processes now that they can finally say you are a member of the Armed Forces of Liberia. So we proud as a government, we're proud of the AFL and the processes that they've been using to bring new people into the army. It's good to keep it like that because we must all trust the armed forces at any time. We hope that we extend to all the other security structure within our country. Once we keep improving the standard, then we get the best out of it, and then we can have what we're supposed to have. Larry, thank you. I'm not sure I heard this account you're giving, but we use that information to check further. I've never heard before that Charles does not have a grave site. So now that you're raising, we ask all the questions. His colleagues are here, Kwame Clement, who nearly lost his life on that same day. In fact, in our board meeting yesterday, when it was announced that the hall should be named in honor of Charles, Kwame broke down in tears. And the reason why he broke down in tears, there were two persons that were being sought after they failed November 12, 1985 coup. Your police control, that doesn't have to your own. You get all the Chinese and Japanese, you have to put them on side. Because they are noisy. So at the end, when the coup failed, there were two journalists that were being sought after. They were looking for Charles William, and they were looking for Kwame Clement. It reflected on the fact that he would have been dead. And he being caught, like Charles William, he would have been dead. So just reflecting on that when the board meeting yesterday, the decision was taken, he cried. The lesson you should learn from this, since all of you here are journalists, is that sometimes you who chose the path to be your profession, it can come with a heavy cost. And so when you hear Paul Federer and his team say the media space has been created, it's okay, you're free to do your job without molestation, without having instances of journalists being arrested and all those things taking place. Those days, it was costly to be a journalist. If you check the history of the media institution in the country, Daily Observer and other newspapers, the offices were burned down many times. It's too firm. Many of you have not seen an inch of the test that people have to face to persevere in their profession. So for a young man There is a picture. He's very young. When he met that terrible fate after the November 12 coup failed. So we're glad that we in charge of government communication and that we are taking this bold step to honor his memory. We pray that his soul continues to rest in peace, but that spirit of guardians that come from people like him who've made a ultimate sacrifice will lead and protect the rest of you. We've chosen the same path, be journalists. Because sometimes you have a seat with the current administration, you never know. Whether in the future, you have a draconian leadership that deals with you in some ways that can never be imagined. Enjoy the space as you have it. Don't abuse it. Be responsible journalists and do responsible journalism. Because if you do so, you too will be helping to honor the memory of Charles Williams and all other media actors from around the world who've met very tragic death situations in this chapter. Thank you.